Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to Sky Classes Rajbagh Paripura. Welcome to your ORCC. I'm Riaz Majid, your teacher for English. Thank you very much for showing interest in all the topics that we have done so far. There has been a bit of break in between for a couple of lectures because of Sunday, and the other break was for some technical issues. So I have received some messages from the students who want me to go for this topic of prepositions, and after this I'll be taking up the writing skills and I'll be taking up the text. But for today we are going to begin with this one, prepositions. Prepositions is the correct pronunciation for this word. Although I'm sorry, I'm not here to teach the pronunciation. We'll have some separate sessions maybe for the pronunciations. But today we are going to talk about this topic called prepositions. Prepositions are the words that show the relationship between words in a sentence. Words. It could be nouns and nouns, it could be nouns and pronouns, it could be nouns and the adjectives and the adverbs and the verbs. How the words are connected. How these words are connected in a sentence, or how the words are connected in space, how the words are connected in time. How are the words related at all? What is the connection between one word and the other? So these words are called the prepositions. For example, usually they show a position. How are words, as I said, in space, in time? How are the words connected? Say, for example, I tell you, say, let's take the example of a cat and a table. The cat is on the table. When I say the cat is on the table, I mean, say, if this pen is the cat is on the table. So the cat is related to the table in this way, that the cat is on. Or I may say the cat is under the table. So this is the preposition. The preposition on shows you that cat is here, and the preposition under shows you that the cat is here. And if I say the cat is around the table, around. Now you can see. So this shows you how the cat and table are connected. This shows you relation between the things in space, and as I said, it could be in time. There are a multiple number of prepositions that we are going to talk about, but we'll not go for all of them, but we'll see the most recurrent prepositions that are very often talked about and asked about in the examinations. So today we'll talk about these prepositions, like you have the preposition at, you have the preposition on, you have the preposition in, you have the preposition into, you have above, you have over, you have about, after, as, at, before, behind, below, concerning, despite, down, during, for, in, near, out, over, past, since, to, on, toward, under, around, beside, until, with. There are many more of them, but we will not be talking about all of them because we don't have that luxury of time and space for that. So we'll be talking about the, I wouldn't say the most important, but I would say the most recurrent, you know, that are talked about, that are used very commonly and are asked in the examinations. So we'll be talking about that set of the prepositions. So let's begin with the prepositions at, on, and in. If you see, I have written on the top of it, I have written prepositions of time. They help us to work with the time, these prepositions. Now, when we talk about at, we use at with time when we give the exact time. Exact means exact time. For example, the class begins at 4 o'clock. The class begins at 10 past 4. I'm giving you the exact time. The class begins at 4:20. Exact time. So when we talk about exact time, we use at. There are some examples, you can have a look of them. We start the class at 4 o'clock. I go to school at 10:30 a.m. I wake up at 8. We also use We also use, when it comes to the rags of time, we also say at dawn. I woke up at dawn. I went there at noon. I was woken up by a noise at night. At night. When we say at night, it almost means the midnight, the time around 12, right? So, at. But we also say, if you see here, if you look at this one, at Eid. See, we have to be very careful about it. At Eid, when I say at Eid, it means around the festival of Eid. It does not mean the day of Eid. It could be a couple of days before, couple of days after, right? It could be a day before or it could be a day after. That's when I'd say at Eid, I'd say at Christmas, at Diwali. So when I say at with these days, I mean to say around in that case, around, not the exact. Because if it were exact, then I would say on. That I may be taking up in the next one. When we say on means we use on with days and dates. Exact days and dates. When it comes to time, we say at for the exact time, but we say on for the days and the dates. I'll meet you on Sunday. On Sunday. I'll meet you on Monday. I'll meet you on 25 June. I'll go there on 15th of this month. So I'm meeting him on Thursday. So when you talk about days and dates, you use on. You use on when you talk about days and dates. And this is what we have been talking about, that we use at, on and in. At I said for exact time. On I said is used for days and dates like Sunday 25 June. But on the day, see on. I said previously, I said at Christmas or at Eid. But here I would say on Eid or on Christmas because it means the exact day. When you mean to say exact day, you say an for festivals like things, right? For example, I have written a sentence here. I wore this dress on Eid. I wore this dress on Eid, right? Means exactly on the day of Eid, right? Then you have in. In as a preposition of time. We use it for weeks. We use it for months, for fortnights, for longer periods of time. We use in for longer periods of time. In the first week of the month. In the month of June. In 2020. So when you talk about the longer periods of time, you say in. You use word in when you use it for longer periods of time. Okay guys? For weeks, for months, years, decades and other longer periods of time, you say in. Alright? So, and we also say in for longer periods of time like afternoon. Afternoon is a period of time. In the morning. Morning is an extended period of time. Right? In the morning, in the afternoon, right? But however, you might have heard people saying at noon. The incident happened at noon. At noon means, that means exactly around 12 what we call 12 p.m. in the daytime. Right? At noon. At that time we say at noon, but we say in the afternoon because afternoon is an extended period of time. Same is the case with morning. Morning is an extended period of time. Previously I said at night, but in some cases we say in the night. In the night. The fire broke out in the night. Means we're not sure about the time, when exactly did it happen. So because night is also an extended period of time, so we say in the night when we are not sure about exactly when. I said previously at night also, right? I was woken up by a noise at night, right? So in that case, it means when I say at night, it means around, somewhere around midnight. But when we say in the night, you're not sure when. Because in that case, we take night as an extended period, and that's why we can also use in for the night also. In the evening. In the evening. Right? Because evening again is an extended period of time. So we say in the evening. Right? At dawn. At dusk. Because these are some fixed timings. That's why we say at. But when you talk about an extended period of time, you use in. In the same way as weeks, months, years, fortnights, right? And other longer periods of time. And then we also use this in when we talk about the time. But before I go to that, sometimes there is that omission of the preposition. There is an omission of the preposition. And what is that omission of the preposition? For example, I say, I'll meet him on Sunday. I'll meet him on Sunday. But be careful. If I add word next to it, or if I add word last to it, word next or last, in that case, you can omit the preposition. You need not put a preposition there. For example, I'll meet him next Sunday. I'll meet him next Sunday. So this time I use the word next, and that's why I dropped the preposition on. I met him last Saturday. When I used the word last, I omitted the preposition on. I removed the preposition on. I don't need it. So you have to be very careful with the preposition when you use words like last and next. This can be true also of using word in. I'll meet him in, say, for example, in March. But I'll meet him next March. I met him last year. I met him in 2022. So when you use the words last and next, you have to be a bit careful. You may be, there is that scope of dropping, omitting the preposition. I hope it's clear to you. Remember it, boys and girls. We use prepositions on, in, with days and dates and times and other things. But in case you use words like next and last, you can drop, or you're supposed to drop, omit the preposition. So, now there is one more preposition. What is at time and what is in time, on time and in time? Now listen, the meeting started on time. Now, the meeting started in time. What is the difference? When is it that you would say on time, and when is it that you say that in time? When I say the meeting started on time, it means it was supposed to be, say for example, it was supposed to be at 10, and it started exactly at 10. When I say the meeting started in time, it means that it started just before. Just before, right? I reached the airport on time means I was supposed to reach there at 3 p.m. So I did reach exactly at 3 p.m. So I say I reached the airport at 3 p.m. But if I reach just a while before, I reached the airport just in time or in time. When you say in time, it means just before. Right? That is the difference between in time and on time. On time means exactly on the time, and in time means just before. That is the difference between the two. He finished the assignment on time. He finished the assignment in time. I'm sure that you can make the difference. All right, guys. Then there is another preposition, since and for. When to use since and when to use for. We use since when we talk about the point of beginning. When we talk about the point of start of something. When did it begin? When did it start? When? Point of time. Right? The meeting started at 10 o'clock. The meeting has been going on since 10 o'clock. Since. So it started at 10 o'clock. It started. The meeting started yesterday. The meeting has been going on since yesterday. The meeting has been going on. He has been learning since 2022. You have been studying in grade 12 since 2021. So, since tells us when did something begin? When did something begin? Since. But for. For tells you how long has something been happening. How long? I have been teaching for, say, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I have been teaching for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. I have been working for 20 years. For 20 years is a period of time. For. He has been waiting for you for a long time. Again, a period of time. So when you want to say how long has something been happening, when you want to give an idea of time, duration, if you're talking about the duration, how long has something been happening or you have been doing, you say for. But if you want to say since, when did you begin? When you say that, in that case you say since. So that's why I have shown since shows point of time of start. Since shows point of time of start, and for shows duration. How far, how long. How long? I have been waiting for 10 minutes. Say for example, right now the time is 4. I say, I have been waiting for 1 hour. I have been waiting for 1 hour. But I can say the same thing, I have been waiting since 3 p.m. I have been waiting since 3 p.m. I have been waiting for 1 hour. So for shows the duration, since shows the point of time of beginning, the point of start. Alright guys? So that is bit about since and for. Sorry for this technical glitch. Yes. Now here are some prepositions of place that are at times a bit confusing, and we end up marking them wrongly. So be a bit careful. On, at, in, into, above, and over. These are different. They show you how are things connected in space, place, right? The first one is on. When do you use it? We use it because on shows you physical contact between the objects. We use on because on shows you physical contact between the objects. For example, I said the pen is on my hand. The pen and hand are physically connected. The pen is on my hand. Right? On. The cat is on the table. The book is on the chair. Right? The book is on the chair. So when there is a physical contact between two objects, you'll say on. On. Alright? The book is on the table. The notice is on the board. He is on the road. He is on the shop. Now, at, on the other hand, at shows nearness. Nearness. Something is near to something. Say for example, Jack is waiting for you at the door. Jack is waiting for you at the door. It does not mean that he is on the door, but he is near. He is just near the door. That is when you say he's waiting for you at the door. He's waiting for you at the entrance. Right? So when you say this at, it shows nearness. He is waiting for you at the door, at the gate, at the entrance. Now, there is one more thing where this at shows nearness and it shows around. Jack is at home. Or if I say right now, I'm conducting my lecture, I'm talking to you. I don't know about my home. So if somebody asks me, where is your son? I'll say, he's at home. He's at home means he must be around. It does not mean that he's inside. It means he's around. My brother has gone to work in the morning, so to his office, I'll say, he's at office. Somebody asked me, where is your brother? I'll say he's at office. I'm not sure whether he'll be inside the office or not, but at office means around, right? He must be there, somewhere around there. So that's why I say he is at office. That's why I say nearness. In the morning when I left home, my mother was in the house. She was in the home. In the home because I know she was inside that time. But right now I cannot say, although she is still there, I can say my mother is at home or my mother is home. There are again some a few situations where you can do without a preposition, especially when it is your own home. Jack is home. You don't need to say on or at. You can simply say Jack is home. That means he is somewhere home. So at shows nearness. At shows nearness. And on, I was saying that it shows physical contact. And in also, when you draw a difference between in and at. In, he's in the office means he's inside the building. Inside his room, maybe. But when I say he's at office, I know that he had gone to office, but I don't know where exactly he is now, but I know that he's somewhere around. So that is the difference between on and at. On shows actual physical contact, in shows actual presence, but at always shows nearness, somewhere around. Now, another one here, in and into. What is the difference between in and into? We use in by virtue of rest, when the things are in rest. For example, if I say the pen is in the box, the book is in the drawer, the pen is in the box means rest. Jack is in the room, rest. So in is used by virtue of rest, but we use into by virtue of motion. When something is moving, I said Jack is in the room. Jack went into the room because he's moving. So it shows motion, right? Jack went into the room. Tea is in the cup. Tea is in the cup. Pour the tea into the cup. Pour the tea into the cup. Now this shows some sort of motion. That's why I said we use in by virtue of rest and we use into by virtue of motion. All right? Now, another one here is above and over. Above and over are exactly in the same way as in and into. Above is used for things in rest and over is used for things in motion. Above, the ceiling is above my head. It's in rest. But the aeroplane flew over my head. The aeroplane flew over my head. So it's in motion. The aeroplane is in motion. So that's why I say over my head. But the ceiling is in rest. So I say the ceiling is above my hand. All right? So the difference between above and over is exactly the same like that of in and into. One is used for the things in rest and the other is used for things in motion. And say the sky is above our head. Sky is above our head. The aeroplane flew over the mountain. The canopy is over our head. The canopy is over our head. The bullets whizzed past over my head. The arrows whizzed past over my head. Whizzed past. Alright? So when the things are moving, we say over. When the things are in rest, we say above. Same as that in and into. Alright? Alright. We also use, when it comes to places, when we talk about places, we use at for smaller places. We use at for smaller places. For example, I say, I live at Anantnag. If I take the small township Anantnag into consideration, I'd say I live at Anantnag because it's a smaller town, right? But if I take the whole place into consideration, the whole district as an extended geographical area into consideration, then I'd say I live in Anantnag. That means somewhere. I live in Anantnag is a bigger geographical unit, and I live somewhere there, so that's when I would say I live in Anantnag, at Anantnag, because it's a smaller place. But simultaneously, we have to remember that if I say I live in a town, when I do not give the name, or in a village, I live in a small street. Although I say small village, small street, small town, but I don't give the name. So when you do not give the name, you say in. But if you give the name of that small street, say for example, I live at I say Anantnag, I live at Shopian, smaller place, town itself, not the whole district. I live. So when you talk about these, when you name these smaller villages, smaller streets, smaller towns, you say at. But if you do not name them, you say in. And for bigger places, I live in Kashmir. It could be anywhere in Kashmir. I live in India, right? I live in Srinagar. Srinagar is a bigger place. I don't know where exactly. But if I say I live at, say for example, I live at Rambagh. Okay, in that case, it's a smaller place, so I'll say at. So you have to be very careful when you use these prepositions in and at. I have written here, I live in a small village. I live in a small town, right? But I live in a small street. But if you name these things, in that case, you are going to use at for smaller places. In the park also, we use this thing, in the park, in the garden, in the street, right? But on the road. But on the road. So these things must be used carefully. Now we have prepositions of travel also. How do we travel? Now if you look at this, I go to school by bus, by air, but in a cab, in a car, on a bike, or on foot. I go to school on foot. But if you go into the Oxford Dictionary, you will also see some examples saying by foot. It was not previously used, but now it's used that I went to school by foot or I go to school by foot. But the exact preposition for it is I go to school on foot, right? But by, I say, is not incorrect by the modern standards of it. Now we use with, so I go to school by bus, by air, in a cab, on a bike, in a car, on foot, by foot, right? Now we use with, preposition with, for instruments of action and by for agency of action. By is used for agency of action, doer. With is used for instrument of action, the instrument, the thing that you use to do something. For example, if you look here, he was arrested by police. So police is the doer, is the agency, and beaten with sticks. Stick is an instrument. Stick is an instrument, but police is an agency. So when you talk about the agency, you use by, but when you talk about the instrument of action, you use with. The leopard was killed. Now look at this sentence. The leopard was killed by a villager. The leopard was killed by a villager with an axe. So by a villager, villager is an agency, and sticks with, because sticks is the instrument. The leopard was killed by a villager with an axe. The cow was tied by the shepherd with a rope. So again, you can understand this difference between by and with. All right, guys? And then you have some more examples of it: through, across, beside, and besides. The bird flew into the room through the window. Through the window, right? He threw the ball or book through the window. He flew it away through the window, right? I put my hand through the pigeonhole of the office. Pigeonhole of the bank when you go to deposit your cash or to retrieve cash or to do things. You go to office to submit your forms, your documents. You put your hand in through that small hole. That's called the pigeonhole. You put your hand there, right? We went through across a narrow street. You can use either here. We went through a narrow street, or we went across a narrow street, right? The child ran across the road irrespective of heavy traffic. Again, you can understand this across here and through also. So these are different things. Now you have this beside and besides. Beside means by the side, and besides means other than that, in addition to. For example, he sat beside me means he sat on my side, by my side, beside. He sat beside me means he sat by my side, right? Jack sat beside me. Jack sat beside me, besides John and Julie. So there were, other than Jack, there were some other people also, right? Jack sat beside me, beside, besides. You can use in the same sentence, besides Sally and Harry. All right? So this beside and besides. Beside, by the side, besides, other than, in addition to. Okay? For example, I bought apples, bananas, besides some vegetables. Right? Now, boys and girls, even death has some multiple prepositions. For example, he died of cancer. He died of cardiac arrest. He died of COVID-19. Right? Died of, when somebody dies of a disease. Right? But he died in accident. He died in an accident. Right? He died in an accident. He died in harness. In harness means on duty, but he died on duty. So this word harness, it takes in, but duty takes on. He died on. And then you have he died for. He died for a cause. He died for his convictions, right? So he died for truth. He died for freedom. He died for his convictions, etc. So even death has different types of prepositions, right, guys? And now you have this preposition to. We have the preposition to here. This is very commonly used preposition, okay? This is a very commonly used preposition. You have to look at and you have to see. I'm just going to read the examples and you will see where to use this. What was his answer to your question? Did he respond to your query? Did he reply to your letter? He is addicted to. She is engaged to. He is married to. Very often I have seen some students committing the mistake married with, engaged with. But that's not the correct preposition. Correct preposition would be engaged to, married to, right? He is married to an English lady. Did you speak to your parents? Speak to, right? Talk to. I prefer tea to coffee. I prefer tea to coffee. So prefer to. Okay, wedded to. There are so many, engaged to. So you use to with these prepositions. And then you have this under. Under is used much more widely when you are not sure which word to use. Use under, it's more likely to be correct. Now when something is under, below, beneath, there are so many words like that. Right? So it is safer to use word under when you're not sure whether to use under, whether to use below, whether to use beneath, right? It's always safer to use under. You can use this word under. All the common use of below, etc. I have already said that when you have these words under, when you have the word below, when you have the word beneath, if you are not sure from the examination of point of examination, it is advisable to use under. All right, guys? There are too many uses of this, and I'm not going to discuss all of them here. So then you have this thing, we use at when we talk about situations. We use at for situations, and we use with for people. So at for situations, but with for people. You have to be very careful. This is very often, put in the examinations. For example, I'm sad at his departure. I'm sad at his departure is a situation. I'm sad at his departure. I'm happy at his success. It's a situation. I was surprised at his performance. At his performance. But I'm sad, I'm angry with him. I'm angry with him. I'm happy with him. They are satisfied with me, but they are satisfied at my performance. They are satisfied with me, person, but they are satisfied at my performance. My friends are happy with me, but my friends are happy at my success. So when it is a situation, you use at, but when you're talking about a person, you use with. She is annoyed with me. She is annoyed with me. She's annoyed at my absence. Right? So with and at for situations, and with for persons, for individuals. All right? There are some examples. You will get this PDF format. You will get it, so you can just go through these examples. And there are some prepositions of money also. We pay money in cash, by check. You pay money in cash, you pay it by check, you also pay by draft. But boys and girls, you can also pay online, right? He paid me online. That is the modern transaction, right? Online is also possible in, by, and online. All right? Then there is something more here. We use of with the following. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. He's proud of proud of his wealth. But you have to be a bit careful here. Take pride in. Pride in, proud of. Pride in, proud of. Right? He was accused of theft. I'm tired of waiting. I'm fond of music. Scared of dogs. Afraid of heights. Wary of him. You have deprived of, pun of, ahead of, etc., etc. You can use of in all these. These are some patterns that you should go through definitely when you prepare for your examinations. All right, guys? And then there are a couple more, like you have off, O-double-F, off here, right? We use it very often. Turn off the light, down, away, remove, stop from a place or distance in space or time. So this off is slightly different. So you have to be a bit careful about this one. Can be also used as a preposition, like when you mean to say down, right? He fell off means he fell down, right? Remove. I took it off. I took it off. He took the coat off, right? So it's remove. So you can keep off the grass means keep away from the grass, right? There is an island off the coast of Spain means down the coast, right? Okay, so this off, you have to be a little careful with using it off, so because it means so many things: down, away, remove, stop, or from a place or at a distance, or you switch off, turn off, etc. There are so many things. And then you have this thing, good. I'm sure all of you are good at English. All of you are good at mathematics. Although many of the students end up writing good in mathematics, but it's advisable to use at, good at something. He's good at painting. He's good at singing, right? Not in singing, good at. He's good at painting. He's good at singing. He's good at drawing. Good at, bad at, weak at, slow at, quick at, fast at. He's quick at counting. He's slow at solving mathematical sums. So good at, bad at. So you have to be a bit careful about it. And then I think that's enough. You'll be getting the PDF. There are many more, but we cannot do all for the time constraint. I keep repeating. So inshallah, I'll be taking up the writing skills in my next lectures, and I'll also be providing you a quick walkthrough. We have already said that we'll be providing you a quick walk through the textbooks class-wise. Thank you very much, and go through the whole list of it, and I'll catch you up in the next lecture. Till then, keep working, keep putting in your best efforts, because the examinations are very close, drawing very close. Bye-bye, and see you in the next lecture.